Hello, Dustin.
Hi. We're back.
Yeah, we say hello to our audience. We are back. Today we are in Brussels, in Belgium.
Another city for us, man.
Yes. I'm here for my first time. Dustin, you are...
I've always been here. My cousins are here, so
yeah.
I'm frequently here, and it's so convenient, I think, being in Brussels, just because it's easy for us to, travel everywhere if we wanted to go to Paris for the day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very bougie, but it's really convenient being in Belgium.
Yeah. Definitely. I've never been to Brussels, and I checked the map, and you can go in 2 hours in the Paris, 2 hours in 1 hour in Bruges. Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, that's why I told Frank that probably next time we can have a vlog instead of like a podcast talking about how about product? What if product is built in Paris? How does that look like? Yeah. No, but
cool.
Glad to be here with you, man.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me here.
Yep. No, it's great.
Very nice. Okay, so today's topic is how AI is disrupting software as a service.
Again?
Oh yeah, AI. Yeah.
No, but I think it's a pretty hot topic that a lot of people, I think they always hear about it just because it's on the news, where you have ChatGPT and all of these technologies come out. But at the end of the day, it's more than just ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I think we'd love to dig in talking about how founders, can use AI, what AI really is, how we can frame it also in terms of how we think about product, and we can give some tips also to the audience on like how we think they can use AI in their day-to-day work.
Yep.
Yeah.
What if in 5 years you won't be using apps at all? And I think this is the idea and the topic of today's episode. We will be talking about how AI is changing the future of software as a service and why it's happening faster than most people think. And this isn't a conversation just for engineers or AI geeks or product builders and founders. I think it's for everyone who is interested in AI and technologies. So, let's jump in.
Yeah, totally.
20 years ago, software as a service changed the game. And instead of buying expensive CDs, because back in these days it was on, in the CD, you could just go on your browser and have your product, have your app in the browser, which was pretty revolutionary. Mm-hmm. It was first Salesforce, Gmail, Dropbox, all these services. Monthly subscriptions, automatic updates, access from anywhere. It was truly a revolution. But here's something we don't say out loud enough. Software as a service, at its core, is pretty simple. Mm-hmm. It's just a way to interact with a database. Create a record, read it, update it, or delete it. So in tech lingo, that's called CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. And that's basically what 80% of software as a service product do under the hood. Mm-hmm. So underneath the fancy user experience, it's just CRUD with a lipstick. Mm-hmm. And for 2 decades, that was good enough to build product like this. But then AI showed up.
And revolutionized the world.
Yep.
And that was just 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's just 2 years ago. Yeah. And it's still very early. But I think that's why we need to adapt how we do the product.
And it's a relevant conversation for today, just because probably when we release the episode, there are more updates to, what AI can do. So I think, how do a lot of business owners, individuals catch up? Or how are they able to, as we call it, ride the wave, right?
Yeah. So what's changing? The agent era. So here's the shifts happening right now. Instead of clicking around apps, you will just tell an agent what you want done. No interfaces, no dashboards, no meta diving. You will say, hey, find my top 10 customers from last month, draft emails to thank them, and schedule a call. And the agent will do it, pulling data from the database, sending the messages, even updating your CRM all automatically. This is something right now, we have these agents already, but most of the people still use the old way. So to find your top customers, you will go to Salesforce or a CRM. You will need to use filters, click buttons, use inputs. Then you just in some way export probably those contacts into Excel sheet. Then you will need to import it into your emailing service and write the emails and send the emails. A lot of tools, a lot of products, a lot of stuff. But with AI agent, it can be already today just 2 prompts, just 2 messages, and everything can be done for you. So there's a nice quote from the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. He said it bluntly like, the notion that business applications exist will collapse in the agent era. And this is the guy running Microsoft. They have a lot of software as a service products, right? Using massively around the world, Excel, the Word and all these other apps. And he says something like this. Even in the podcast with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, he said, do you really need Excel when you can have AI agent? Probably they need to sell the AI features now. So they are really saying popular stuff about AI. Yeah. But there's something on it.
No, but it's really true because I think a lot of people, when they talk about AI, and I think they're trying to be revolutionary by saying that, oh, we're actually building AI and making it better so it can replace our jobs. Mm-hmm. I have a different perspective, I think nobody can replace human beings in general. Again, this is a big debate happening nowadays, but I think with AI agents coming in, I think it's a possibility that certain jobs, certain tasks can be replaced by AI. And take note not to overcomplicate what AI agents are. I think, it's simpler than that. And I think we'll deep dive through that conversation in this episode, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the main shift in thinking about the software is that today we have apps. For the last 20 years, we've been working with apps, but right now we will be working with intelligence. So instead of working through the software with the software as a tool, as a branch tool, let's say, you will work with an AI partner. Mm-hmm. So I think this is in the hype, actually, that it's beginning already inside companies like Microsoft, Google, and hundreds of startups you never heard of yet.
Yeah.
Dustin, can you give us a use case of tech companies now building their roadmaps and how the landscape has changed in just past 2 years?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of changes, man, especially putting it on a product lens, just because we work in product. A lot of product managers there are different types of product managers, right? Like there are platform product managers, there are marketing product managers, they're more focused on growth and acquisition. There are, consumer product managers and B2B product managers. All of them in one way or another have added AI as part of their work stream. So an example of what I do now with my work is that I always need to make sure that I have a hub of data, or a wiki or a reference to some of the companies that I work with. And then I use that data to help generate, ideas that can not replace my ideation and what I think about, when I build features with these companies, but it actually helps start or kickstart the ideation journey, So at least it gives me like a group of ideas, and then I choose from these ideas, and then I create these new features based on whatever was generated. A lot of PMs are also plugging in AI in different parts of the work stream. One big impact is really UI, or UX research, where we have so much to do already with product, and sometimes we can't even think about getting feedback from customers and iterating on it. So we use AI nowadays to really help speed up the process of information or feedback gathering. So when you put something out there and you can't get real feedback from human beings, in a short amount of time, you use AI also in your work stream to be able to easily generate that data.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working with one startup founder that's trying to create even a way to generate AI personas. So as if you were talking, to your customer and asking them about getting feedback about your product, which speeds up the process, because usually the process of recruitment, recruiting these interviewers and also getting more data from them takes so much time, but being able to get an AI agent or program a tool that allows you to do that gives better and quicker feedback, so your product evolves faster. Mm-hmm. We are also seeing that, I think, with product managers using AI as part of the roadmap, building, because sometimes you lack ideation, you also lack timeline and planning, and usually you use AI to help you plan everything ahead of you. So your engineers don't have to wait for product to pull the requirements together and put it on Jira. You can also do that using all of these 8 automation tools.
So we are not just speaking about what products are or how they should be built, but also how the organizations and teams should work and build these products. So what do you think about the role of product operations?
That's a good question.
It's not really old role. It's pretty new, the product operations role. But now, in the era of AI agents and automations and workflows and everything, what do you think about this
So
role?
a lot of people don't know first what product operations is. So probably we can just quickly talk about product operations. So product operations was a new role, a supporting role to product management, because product managers never really had the time to gather information on how the new feature that they released was for their users. There was also a gap, between the project manager, product management, and engineering. And also, project managers are not as prominent anymore as a role for a lot of smaller startups. So product always had to do everything. And I always told everyone that if there was a startup that invented more time in a day, more than 24 hours, I would totally invest all of my money in that startup. But obviously, we cannot disrupt time and get more time out of a day. So we need to find ways to optimize what we do. So product operations usually fills in the gap, to help gather feedback, to help do some of the tickets that you can't do, to help also with feature definition and gathering requirements. And because of AI coming in, product operations can actually be given to an AI tool now. You can automate already some of these workflows. Not saying that product operations might be a role that might not exist later on, because there's always so much work, but just saying that you can already automate using AI so that you can do your own product operations without having to think about product operations, So to give a concrete use case, for example, I put a feature out there for one of the startups that I work with. And then it was so difficult trying to get feedback because I needed to build the next version because we had milestones for the different phases of work. So what I had to do was that I had to plug in and get feedback coming from AI. And I had to train the AI tool first to understand what type of customer we're planning to build this for, and then get feedback from AI on how they think this tool was. So I didn't rely on it completely because I wasn't completely bought in yet to AI. So I used that as a reference and tested it, trying to get an interview with an actual customer.
Yeah.
And what's crazy was the AI tool was reflecting the personality or the feedback coming from the real customer. And at the same time, it even gave more better feedback, without the bias. So I was like, man, I can ask this AI persona anytime feedback without having to think about, oh man, I have to give a $50 gift card to a customer just for giving me time for an interview. So just saying that, if you start thinking about your work stream as a PM and add this as part of AI as part of your work stream, it's really a game changer when it comes to getting back more time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of how to incorporating AI in the product process, have you seen a recent update from Linear, the AI update? So in Linear now you can have AI agents being assigned to tasks. So imagine that you have your project management tool, and you can simply assign to people, but you can also assign it to AI, the ticket. And that's nice. This is how it should work in the future.
It's kind of creepy, but at the same time, I think that's the future, right?
Yes.
And also I think a lot of these virtual, people, let's say AI, they also have their own personality and how they work, right?
Yeah.
So I think later on you can program some of these, assignees.
Sintra employees.
Oh God, I saw that.
Oh yeah.
That's weird marketing, man. And I didn't know how it would work, but as I got in more to what AI agents can do, it's not really like a physical person that you're trying to replace. It's just that the workflow or the process or the automation. And I feel a lot of people get so confused with AI because they feel like, oh my God, it's a Japanese robot or whatever, how it is. But I think as you think more about it, it's really automation. It's really like, how do you automate certain work processes so that it just runs by itself?
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of this, before we dive deeper on the topic, let's slow down for a second.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of AI jargon out there. And basically every product that's launched today is AI startup. If you launch a startup or a product and it's not AI or it doesn't contain AI, you will probably not get a funding, and the investors will be like,
Yeah.
I think this is how it is perceived by the founders. But the days when you had AI batch for your startup was like instant funding, they are away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are away. It was here for a short time, but
No, it was there during the pandemic when I think a lot of investors were shifting from traditional tech businesses to businesses plus AI. It's still getting the most funding. A lot of like companies I've been working with have always told me that not having AI as your the primary thing in your roadmap won't get views or won't get feedback. But if you have AI, and you're able to explain that well early on in the fundraising game, that can give you probably not more traction, but more attention.
Yeah. Before we dive into how AI agents can disrupt software as a service products, let's slow down and go for the basic terms. So AI, we can define it as a big, broad term, basically anything that mimics like human intelligence, and that is the ultimate goal, to develop AGI, the ultimate universal intelligence that can do anything. Is there anything you want to talk about? Speaking of AI, big data.
Oh yeah, so AI in general is now the fancy term for this new world that we're in. But I think AI and its foundation used to be, for a lot of people that are a little bit older, like myself, not saying I'm older, but a lot of people, AI used to be machine learning, used to be big data, used to be automation, but I think AI is more special now because it's able to think by itself, so instead of having the data structure that allows machine learning to happen and you just feed it with a lot of data, I think AI is now able to distinguish, decision making. And that's why it's very special nowadays. I never knew why AI was so special until I tried it. But AI really now is its own brain, as compared to before that you had to manually feed good or bad, Yeah. I can talk more about it, but I think let's move on to the next word.
The most available thing today in today's world are large language models, LLMs. This is what we call AI, even though it's not really AI, as it should be stated. So the stuff like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and everything. We use 500 million users already on ChatGPT. Yep. It's amazing. For how long it's in general availability?
Remember, man,
2 years.
I think in tech, once you're the first mover, if you're able to sustain it and release even better stuff, then you'd be the clear leader and winner, right? And I think that's also with a lot of other industries that came out first, like the Googles of the world.
I'm worried a little bit because, I was thinking recent days about the pricing of ChatGPT, because you have Plus for $20 and I have Plus for $20, right?
Oh, I thought you had a $200 one.
I use 4.5 model. And I get a message, like a notification. Okay, you have five more messages, and then you will have to wait until 1 week until the limits are refreshed. And I was like, "What? I'm paying the Plus tier." And I discovered there is a Pro tier for $200.
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit afraid that with LLMs or AI, it will be soon as with rental. Because it's a thing you can't skip. You need to live somewhere, and so if the rental is 20,000 or 30,000, I mean this is in Czech crowns, in dollars, 1K, 2K, 3K. That would be a lot in Czech. But if you need to live in Prague, you have to pay it. It doesn't matter if you think it's a lot or not. And I'm thinking if this is something that's coming with AI, because if right now 500 million people and users are using only ChatGPT, and there are other models and other LLMs, I think I can say I'm already addicted to ChatGPT. I have it in my tab on my iPhone. I have messages calls, and then ChatGPT. So it's available, and I use it like 10 times a day.
Yeah, I think I should send you to AI therapy.
Yeah.
So we can get you on a withdrawal
Rehab.
a rehab.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you don't use it, you will stay behind.
Yeah.
You have to use it. And if ChatGPT tells me today it's not $20, it's 60, I will probably pay it.
Yeah. And that's how they build demand, right? It's that, as long as you are dependent on it. Oh God, it sounds like a different, a health tech topic more than AI. But like once you're dependent on it, you'd want more, right? And that's the opium that they give to you as a user. But I think in another episode, I'd love to chat really about pricing because I think a lot of startups that are getting into AI still haven't figured out how to open up that pricing to customers, and like obviously customers want to use your tool more, but what if on the 15th day of their billing cycle, you're not able to use it anymore because you've used all of your credits? So I think it's a conversation that's good to pursue later on based on like how should AI be priced, Or probably that gets to why don't you just build your own LLM, right? Which is another topic. In this
a lot of topics to cover.
World. Yeah.
Next time we're in New York.
Yeah.
New York Tech Week.
Oh yeah.
For the podcast.
No, I always invite you, and I think everybody that I talk to, I'm like, hey, you should go to New York Tech Week because probably it's one of the best hubs of, not to promote New York Tech Week too much and E60 and Z, but it's really being able to meet a good network of people that speak the same language, and then you can ideate a lot of good stuff with.
Okay, so just to summarize, so LLMs, stuff like ChatGPT, they are good at understanding and generating text, like a really smart autocomplete. Really, really smart. Then the next category, next term is AI app wrappers. So that's the thing that a lot of AI startups today, they are not actually AI startups. When I'm speaking with companies that are developing models, AI startup is a startup that develops their own model, their own AI, actually. And the other term could be like startups using AI. So they are using existing models and wrap it around some use case. And so basically, someone slapped a nice UI on top of ChatGPT and called it a product. It can look shiny, but it's shallow, and you're still just chatting with a brain in a box, basically. What do you think about these AI wrappers?
AI wrappers are fine, because I think AI wrappers create a lot of use cases that regular human beings won't be able to use ChatGPT for, but just using the service. Or we can also think about it as the machine that powers a use case. So example with health tech, if you have an AI, you have a doctor or a nurse that talks to a patient and then tries to record all of the details about their health instead of typing and listening to the patient, AI can just pick up everything and then create all of those notes in advance or as you talk to the patient, so you can spend more time for patient care. That's a good use case. That might not use an existing LLM. It might use ChatGPT, and I think that's fine. I'm just not sure if there's a lot of money that's backing up startups that are using existing tools and platforms, right? I think there are, because I've seen some startups that have raised seed funding using these different models as its machinery. But I think there's more money in proprietary LLMs, in other words, LLMs that companies build so that data is just within their own system.
Yeah.
I've started working with a startup who actually wanted to build an enterprise, a solution, and they wanted to make sure that data is within their own ecosystem and they can train their own. So later on, we might be able to fundraise or sell the company. I think it's number one, I'm invested in it because I'm able to experiment, without having to do it myself with my own company. But at the same time, it's also very interesting because as you train the model, sometimes it doesn't pick up specifically what you request it to do. So we always have to go and retrain it again to make sure it has the right data. But I feel that company will go so far just because they own everything, right? And I think one thing that's very different here in Europe is you have to contain the data here in Europe.
Yeah, we still don't have AI in iPhones.
Oh yeah, I heard
We still
about
have
it.
stupid
Yeah.
Siri, but I heard even the Siri with
Oh,
AI
you
is
don't,
still stupid.
shouldn't worry about it. I mean, I love Apple, man, but man, Siri is still not that good, to be honest. Like, it summarizes stuff from my email, and I don't understand it. Like, like, it's like my mom telling me something. I'm like, Mom, what are you saying? Sorry, Mom, if you watch this, but yeah.
Yeah. So, is your mom like AI geek?
She wants to use AI, but it's funny how the older generation, they know that it's very important,
Yeah.
but they still don't know how to harness it. So I feel like there's a gap there between how AI can be used by regular mom and pop, dad and mom.
Yeah.
And I think it's still foreign to a lot of people. That's why there are a lot of podcasts and content about AI, but people still haven't had the grasp of it. So actually, to be honest, I think people should start using AI and putting it as part of their life, just to try it out in different ways, because eventually that's going to be the new normal. When it used to be like Lotus Notes, or like those old applications for like putting notes together, like Notepad and stuff, and then now it's Google Docs. That's going to be AI. AI will be the new norm pretty soon.
Yep.
Right.
So just to summarize the AI app wrappers,
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem here is that it can be replicated very easy, because AI app wrapper is basically just the UI, just the design, and a good prompt for ChatGPT if you use ChatGPT. And the problem is, and we could see it with the releases of new ChatGPT versions, when they released GPTs, custom GPTs, because back then you didn't have custom GPTs. You had just basic chat with ChatGPT. So there were so many startups that let you save the prompt for a GPT and give it the instructions and save it for many different use cases. And then there was just a release, keynote with Sam Altman, and you could just see in 5 minutes how hundreds and thousands of startups just died because of this release, right?
Yep.
And I also think that the problem is, and we will get to it with the AI agents, that if you just use ChatGPT and wrap it with a nice UI, I mean, if you need to accomplish a goal and you could just tell it to your assistant, and the assistant will do it, or choose to have some UI and click some buttons and everything, what would you pick?
Well, the faster one. Right?
Yeah, the faster one. If we can have an assistant, if we can have someone that does things for us and we don't have to click the interfaces, we will pick this. And this is the future, actually.
Yeah.
These are the AI agents. So, and one more conspiracy theory.
Yeah, we love that here.
about ChatGPT and OpenAI. We could see the trend with Apple, that Apple copy good apps from App Store. Like when there's a good app on App Store, really good, Apple will integrate it natively, the function natively into the iOS. And I think this is what will happen also with ChatGPT, because now you have custom GPTs and they can see which GPTs are used massively or not. So they really see what we are using it for. And if it makes sense in the business side, I think they will integrate the features natively to the ChatGPT.
It never ends.
Yeah.
It never ends, yeah.
So to AI agents. So what are AI agents? A little bit different game than just AI app wrappers. So an AI agent can think, plan, and act. If you had basic chat, you can just have your chat. You can just send a prompt, ask it for some research or search for a web. But this is actually agents. These days, it's not only generating a response and talking with you. So if you have an AI agent, it can break a goal into steps and do them one by one across multiple tools. So you can integrate it with multiple tools, with your email, with your CRM and everything else, without you micromanaging. Yep. So these are AI agents. Do you have any experience?
Yeah, so I met this startup actually in San Francisco Tech Week last year. And ever since, I've been working with their tool just because it's been so helpful. I probably won't mention it here, but I'll probably tag it later on, so at least they can, people can start checking it out. But in general, what they do is that they record calls, but it's more than that. Beyond recording the call and creating the transcript, they also allow you to create agents. So whatever the conversation was between you and somebody on the call, you can actually generate documents. You can automate sending out emails. So they actually, before I even knew about AI agents, that's where I experienced it. I never knew these were AI agents. But in general, what you can do is that there's a text box where you can write in instructions on what the agent or what the system should do after generating the transcript. So initially I just had it as a note taker and summarize notes. But in the future, I'm not in the future. Currently, what I do is that I have it send automated emails so that it can help me, proceed forward. Let's say it's a sales call, to follow up with the client to make sure that they don't forget that we understood what we talked about and we have action items and next steps. Or as part of the CRM, and they're trying to build also a CRM component to help with sales and even product development, they're able to store more information so you never forget the thread of conversations and meetings that you've had with this person. So later on, because we do so much stuff, there needs to be a constant reminder that, hey, you need to follow up with this person. You need to work with them, and you have some action items you haven't done yet. And actually, their tool was able to help me optimize, my time and how I work with my customers.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a good example. And take note, an AI agent, they just made a sexy name out of it, but in general, it's really just automation. Being able to automate certain processes that I had with my workflow that I didn't even know I needed, until I was able to do it.
Yeah.
So I think AI agents are really the future of how we work, whether it's product, whether it's sales, whether it's some other business line. But yeah, man, it's the future.
Yeah, I see like 4 levels maybe of this specific use case of being on a call and have a business meeting, let's say. So first level is that you have to be on the call, you have to take notes, you have to speak with the people. After you take the notes, after the call ends, you need to review the notes, identify the next steps, then put it into your project management tool, assign the right people.
Steps, yeah.
So this is what we do. I mean, in these days, this doesn't sound right to me anymore.
Yeah.
But this is how we worked from like for last 20 years. We have internet, right? Before that, we didn't have online call, but just in-person meeting, right? But okay, so the second level is that you have your bot on the call, and it does transcript for you, and it can summarize the transcript, and it can identify the next steps. It can identify pain points and feature requests, so you can prompt the transcript and get what you need. I think the third level is that it can take those next steps like to-dos and everything,
follow-ups,
and it can put it into your project management tool and assign the right people. Maybe send some emails, let's say. But I think the fourth level is when we can just join on a call, have a conversation, and speak about what needs to be done. And the AI assistant will note everything, then put it into project management tool, assign AI agents to do the work. And yeah.
I think that's the future, but that's creepy because it replaces a lot of people that are part of your work stream, right? But at the same time, I think because the human brain is still the most complex and we still make decisions based on emotions and also a lot of different factors. For the fourth step, I think that's where human beings still are needed. I think people talk about AI agents taking over the world as if zombies or, this future state of the world. But I feel like we still have to make the decisions of what to do with the client, right? Like if we feel that the client is not a good fit, or let's say, we work with a potential customer, but they don't feel like getting our product because they're going through something with their business, AI won't be able to make that decision for us.
Yeah.
So I think emotion is something that you can't, I don't know, but emotion is something I think that's part of AI.
But here is the problem. We are speaking about like general AI agent, something that can like create a task or send an email or send a message. But would you let AI agents running on ChatGPT do your finance report or finance decisions, or would you
Not decisions, probably generating the report to make it easier for me to make those decisions? Because sometimes, just seeing a spreadsheet full of numbers, you still need to do the additional step of, making sense of those numbers and what story does it tell. I think AI can just come in to help create those stories for you in a dashboard. That's why I think a lot of AI dashboards are being done now by a lot of different startups.
My point is that every time you give ChatGPT some data and ask it to analyze it and maybe give you some business recommendations or like the recommendations for business decisions, it will each time give you something else. I think this is a problem for, of course, like running business and finance reporting or finance itself, healthcare. This would be a very big problem if you use like AI agent in healthcare to work with the patients. You can't use ChatGPT for this right now. And then we have the last category, and that is vertical AI agents. So what is vertical AI agent? Let's take an AI agent and make it very specialized for only one industry. So it's not those general AI agents that can do now stuff like send emails, but it's really like automating and understanding and doing the job in one industry end to end. So for example, it's like logistics, finance, law, healthcare. So something very specialized that can replace the whole category of software as a service products. Because if you have vertical AI agent for logistics, for example, you don't need like logistics software or ERP software because all of these data are stored in the database and you are just the person and you need to decide what to buy, or just give the command to the AI agent to buy something and store it in the warehouse and ask all these questions about the warehouse and about the items in the stock. So, but of course, logistics and buying and purchasing, this is something that is best run when it's run on data. Mm-hmm. So if you have these data, an AI agent can run it for you. But this is probably not what you will now give to the hands of ChatGPT or general AI agents. If you are like a, I don't know, e-commerce store with like 5 million euro revenue, you wouldn't put your data to the AI agent and let it choose what to do. Yeah. But if you have something that is specifically built for this industry, this is the next big thing, like vertical AI agents.
I agree with that, but I think it's also very controversial just because, you want to be hands-on to your business and you don't want to automate the entire process. But I think what's good about vertical AI agents is that you can start evaluating what or which features that the vertical is able to do and replace some of the processes that you currently manage in your business, right? So example, if you see, and it gives you ideas also on what to replace, because sometimes if you think about a business owner, they might not think about their customer journey map, right? And the flow of that journey and see how they can optimize things. Probably we're the nerdy ones, and we're the ones in tech who are trying to disrupt each and every part of our workflow. Mm-hmm. But I think having vertical AI agents is a good next step in really truly understanding how you can benchmark your business versus what's already being automated fully.
Yep. Okay, so let's summarize the message of AI agents and LLMs and everything else. So when we compare it to the software as a service, you had a tool, you had the screens. Now you skip the tools, you skip the screens, and you get the results. So we can say that in the old world, which is still now, but becoming the transition, you had to learn the software. But in the new world, the software learns you.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about automation versus AI agents / machine learning. Why don't people use these automations more often? Is it because we don't have access to it? Is it because we have a structure and we don't want to break from it? Is it perhaps because we don't know how to harness it to where it becomes part of our workflow, then another tool to use?
I think it's all of those, man. I think people have a misconstrued understanding of AI. AI moved too fast. We're just 2 years in and we've done so much already that I think certain people who don't have AI top of mind are able to catch up and really evaluate how they can use AI for their day-to-day and make, probably their lives more efficient. But I think it's a learning phase that everybody should start getting into just to make sure that they won't be, late in the game. Because a lot of people that have done it have seen a lot of the improvements with how much time they've spent on work versus their own life, But also for the workaholics, probably it means more work from them because probably for them, money is work. Work is money, right? But yeah, Yeah, I think they need to just jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah. So what challenges do software as a service companies face when implementing AI solutions?
So I think the biggest challenge they have is really justifying how much benefit you get from the cost that you pay. A lot of people don't want to change process, because it takes so much time, it takes so much effort. I remember when I think my first job was working at a universal bank, at a bank, and they were trying to do digital transformation. It's like digital transformation. It took so much time for the transition to happen, and I think a lot of businesses are going through that, like, oh, if we do this now, can't we just do this later so that we can do the work first now? But actually, if you delay AI and AI is so advanced already, it might even be more difficult to replace what you currently have to make things more efficient. So again, the message is you have to just jump on the bandwagon, and how you measure cost benefit. You need to measure the cost benefit. So how you can transparently do that is that you can list down all of the processes you have. Okay, on the left column, let's say you're doing a table. Yeah. On the right side, you can see what type of automation you can do with AI. Okay, you can measure the cost of doing that. Whether it's time, whether it's the price of the software on a subscription basis, or whether that's the number of people perhaps that you should think about. When it comes to replacing some of those workflows, and then you can see how much money you can save from replacing some of the workflows. Right. And then from there, it's easy for you to justify moving to AI now than later on.
Okay. I think most of the times we speak about AI automating some processes, we think about how it will replace our jobs. But I always thinking when I'm optimizing my business, you can optimize it either for costs, so you can cut the costs to make it more profitable, or you can optimize it to make more revenue. And I think the problem is that the costs are limited. You can spend hours and hours in trying to cut your costs, and you can cut something. But when you spend the time in thinking about how you can add more revenue, this is infinite. So maybe we can think about AI agents and automations in workflows not really replacing our jobs and saving the costs for the company, but thinking about automations and AI workflows and AI agents in terms of how it can help us actually grow, how it can help us not really just save the costs, but how it can help us generate more revenue, for example, and generate more value. And I think in this scenario...
But that's a problem, man. I think people forget the word value.
Yeah.
Like the word value is very important, especially with the work that we do, because we feel like it's just work to work. But actually what value do you get out of it? What value do your customers get out of it? And I think that's something very important. Sometimes people forget that there's heart as part of the business that you're building, right? Yeah. It's not only the money, it's also like what value do you provide to your customers more than money?
Yeah.
Right. So it always goes back to the basic thing that we always talked about here in this podcast, is really like, who is at the heart of your business, right? When you make decisions.
Yeah, so. Definitely.
And AI still doesn't have a heart.
Yet.
Okay. Yet. Let's talk about founders now. Time to go back home.
Yeah, time to go back home. We shifted a little bit to many directions just to create a space where we can talk about how it actually impacts founders. If you are a founder today and you want to found a startup, you want to build a product, there were some ways how to do it. Like old software as a service playbook was like, build an app, add some features, hire sales teams, sell licenses. I think scaling with hiring salespeople, everyone knows from the Silicon Valley series, right?
Yeah.
So the episodes when they hired so many people just because they got funding. And these were the old ways. But how it would work today when we have AI agents and AI. So here's my take. You will build an agent that will accomplish some outcomes for your customers. You will focus on saving time and money, not adding screens for the customers. So you will really, really focus on what outcome it will make for them, because we can think of the interface of these agents being just a chat with your assistant, right? And then you will sell the results, not the software, not the UX, not the UI, just what it can do for the people, what it can save them, what it can generate for them. So I think this will change your product, your go-to-market, even your hiring, because I think companies that win in this era won't have like 1,000 or thousands of employees. They will have like 50 employees and thousands of agents working for them. So the very structure of companies will shrink and they will be very agile. We can see it today with the startups that are funded. They had like tens of employees, but big revenues and big investments. So the trend is already here. And I think that startups that will be AI native from the beginning will move faster, ship smarter, serves customers better than the legacy players that will just be bolting the AI onto the old workflows, which will be always more difficult. So what do you think about this, Dustin?
Well, I think we're missing the point, right? And going back to the statement that I made earlier today about heart, is that customer experience, I think, is still where, is the heart of a business, and that's why a lot of customers are loyal to the companies that they support and help. It's because of it feels more human, it feels like there's personalization involved, there's service involved, or they are connected to it. I think we haven't cracked that code yet where agents, are able to reflect the same level of service that a good business usually has with its individuals. Or like, let's say customer success is a very good example of a part of the organization that grew out of, just building loyalty and supporting your customers as they grow. I don't think an AI agent can be a customer success, because just imagine it sends you a follow-up email. Are you growing your business? Can I help? And then, you're still not talking to someone. It feels like this person is just selling you something, as compared to like, let's say Dustin becomes your customer success and be like, hey man, how's life now? It's more personal. So I feel like it still has a lot of heart to grow when it comes to customers really adapting to AI agents that can scale businesses in this way. And I have yet to see a more personal approach. And I don't know if that, if AI agents will replace the human side of things.
Where the opportunity is with the vertical AI agents. So B2B SaaS made the last generation of billion-dollar companies, like payroll software, CRM systems, customer support platforms. The next generation will be built on vertical AI agents. Why? Because agents can go deeper than SaaS ever could. Think about it, like billing and dental clinics, or insurance claims processing, quality assurance testing in software companies, government contract bidding. Boring, yes it is. Complicated, absolutely. But profitable? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is profitable. So if SaaS was about selling dashboards, vertical AI is about replacing departments. So how to think about building for this era? If you are building today, here's the mindset shift you need. Don't ask, what app should I build? Ask, what outcome should I automate completely? Find messy, repetitive work where people are still needed to push buttons, and design agents to replace that. Checklist for spotting vertical AI opportunities. Is it repetitive? Is it expensive? Is it still human-driven despite SaaS existing? Can an AI agent perform it 80% as well as a human? Can I plug it directly into data, not through screens? If yes, you're onto something. So let's talk about some frameworks. What frameworks do you use to evaluate AI opportunities versus traditional solutions, Dustin?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier, where you really look at the current workflow that you have, let's say on the left column, on the right column, what can you replace and automate? And then as part of your analysis is really a cost benefit. How much would it cost now for the future benefit of having an automation instead of the current process? And I think that's how you can transition to a vertical AI. But I think, as I mentioned also, as we built, this conversation, as we did our conversation today, it's really about thinking where your customers would want to see some human touch. So definitely, it's good, not for me personally, not to automate everything, and truly create a vertical SaaS AI, completely taken over your business. But it's also seeing where you have those important human touch points that your customers need to, be part of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you balance AI innovation with core product stability? So there's no one over the other. I think a lot of product managers nowadays,
nowadays think about AI as a different roadmap and they have to build it in parallel. But I think AI should already be part of requirements gathering as you build new features. Or as you build new features, let's say logging in, how do you incorporate AI already as part of that workflow? Or let's say when a customer needs help, how do you have AI already as part of that workflow? So you have to weave in how AI is already built with your company and your product to make sure that you're not, spending more time or wasting more time having a separate product that's not well integrated. So it's just saying that, AI should always be part of your roadmap. Even, it shouldn't be a later on, it should be a now.
And last question, because implementing AI, it really takes some ethical concerns sometimes. So how do you ensure ethical AI implementation in your products?
I think early on in a lot of startups, even a very young startup should consider this, is you have to involve a CIO or a DPO very early on. So a chief information officer or a data protection officer very early, especially in the European Union. Because a lot of the laws are very tricky when it comes to the AI Act. I know in America, we don't have that much data protection. That's why I think there's a contrast now between different startups building in different regions. But I think whether you're in the US, in Asia, North America, Asia, or Europe, or any part of the world, you really have to think about, data protection. Just to make sure that doesn't bite you back later when you go fundraising or when you start scaling your business. And a lot of product managers and founders forget that. You have to do that early, especially if, like everybody else, you're an AI company.
Yeah. I just now noticed your cap.
Wow, we've been here for an hour.
Amazing.
Very fit for the episode. Right?
Yeah. Very nice.
Handy dandy cap. Thank you for the sponsor. I just got this for free at I think GitHub in San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We are mentioning a lot of companies, a lot of products, and we will just send them the podcast so they will pay our partnerships.
Sponsor.
Right. Yeah. Sponsors.
Well, we're not paid, by the way.
So we mentioned Microsoft, Google. What else?
Yeah.
New partners of the podcast, right?
Everything, man.
Yeah. Cool. So right now, most of the world still lives in the SaaS mindset. Build more screens, hire more users, add more features. But quietly in the background, the agent era is rising. And when it hits, it won't be a gentle transition. In the next decade, we won't ask which app you built. We will ask which intelligence you created. If you are a founder, this is your moment to rethink everything. If you are still thinking in screens and CRUD operations, you are not building for 2030. You are stuck in 2010. The future belongs to builders who see software not as tools, but as teammates. Thanks for tuning in. If this sparked some ideas for you or shook you up a little, I love to hear from you. Reach out, share it, and let's keep building the future one agent at a time. Catch you next time.
It sounds very, our episode sounds very Isaac Asimov, But yeah, anyway, thank you, Frank. We'll catch up again in our next episode.
Yeah, thank you.